Hi, and welcome to another episode of the DowntonCast. I'm Monique, and this is Ashley, and we are going to be discussing last week's episode. Sybil died 2 weeks ago in episode 4, and so this week we're dealing with the repercussions
Of her death.
of her death. Lord Grantham is
An idiot.
he's grieving over his child's death, but his wife
But he's not really
won't let
grieving
him
over his
forget
child's
it.
death. Like, maybe he is. I'll give him that. But he doesn't seem to be really grieving about that. It's just like he's grieving about his lack of control.
Right.
And the fact that his decision making has been challenged and his place as the man of the house has been challenged.
Right.
It seems less about Sybil and more about him. Even though he's upset that Branson names the kid Sybil, which he has nothing to do with that. So I don't even know what his deal is. It's not his child, so why do you care so
And
much?
somebody says that in a way, like either it's Matthew or the Dowager Countess or somebody.
Yeah, somebody said it is his child after all. I think it was Mary, actually. Because remember, they're
Right,
outside,
right.
and she's like, well, the child is a Branson, not a Crawley. And I don't understand why Lord Grantham has it in his head that the kid is not going to be anything if it's not a Crawley.
Yeah.
The Crawleys are as messed up a bunch as I can imagine.
Lord Grantham is dealing with a lot of things because I think some of his grief is coming out in the fact that he is worried about not having any control over anything because his family went to eat at Isabel's house and they were being served by
An
Ethel.
ex-prostitute.
Yeah. And when he came over there and said, "You guys are leaving," they're just like, "No, we're not leaving."
And why? I mean, I understand that Britain in this time and before, and I guess up until now, or up until recently, and by recently I mean like 50 years, the whole appearances thing is a huge deal, and you can't like appear to be something without being labeled that thing, which is really dumb. Like, and I'm not trying to say that British people are dumb, but I don't like when those kind of systems exist in which you can't even like walk alongside someone without somebody saying, "Oh, you must be that too." Like, that doesn't make any sense. If I'm walking next to, I don't know, a white person, it doesn't make me white. I'm still who I am. Or if I'm walking next to a gay person, I'm not suddenly gay just because I'm with them. It just means I'm their friend. Like, it doesn't matter. So in this time, and again, even before this, if you're seen with a prostitute or having acquaintance with a prostitute or something like that, then you're like outcast. You can't even be socialized with. And so this whole thing with Ethel is what's going on here. Like, what's his face? What's his name?
Carson.
Thank you. Even he has made this decree that nobody can go anywhere near the Crawley house. And then he tattles on the women of the house for going over there because they don't know what they're doing. And then stupid, what's his face, Robert, goes over there like he has some sort of pull, knowing full well his wife is not listening to a word he's saying anyway, and she'll do anything to go against him. So why do you even, like, idiot.
I thought it was a good episode in the fact that it showed more of the times are changing idea instead of having Shirley MacLaine's character just repeat it over and over.
Times are going back to, because order is restored among the main couple.
Kinda. I mean, in the next episode, they're showing how Matthew is arguing with Lord Grantham, and it's back about control. So it's not like, I don't think Lord Grantham is out of the woods yet as far as who's in control or what to do in a position of control, because it's obvious that it's being set up that Matthew and Branson know how to run Downton Abbey better than Lord Grantham.
But the thing about that I hate is that Lord Grantham should already know that he's terrible with finances, because, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the one that brought us into the whole money issue to begin with, way back whenever he first had to marry Cora. in order to get money to restore Downton because his dad messed stuff up or something.
Right.
Like, it runs in his family, bad management skills. And why are you going to get so angry? Like, okay, you've already sold your soul, all right, by letting Matthew be savior of Downton. Okay?
Yeah, co-manager of Downton.
Yeah, you could have just taken the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's your own fault, first of all. Because if you remember last time, or a couple episodes ago, whenever they saved Downton, Matthew was just going to hand the money over freely. But no, Lord Grantham has to have a high horse, even when he's facing crisis. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to let you give it to me, but you can be co-whatever of Downton. But then he doesn't really want him to be co-anything of anything because he doesn't want anybody to tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you had your chance to not have to listen to anybody else's opinion. But since it's Matthew's money, you have to listen to the opinion. It doesn't matter what you think you did. And if the numbers are written plainly in black and white, what argument do you have? I would say, and I think you said this, that he represents the old time,
Mm-hmm.
and he's being beaten over the head, and he's trying to, like, keep it together, but as we know, old regimes always try to, like, scramble and make themselves relevant. They always make more problems for themselves and show their irrelevance even more when they're scrambling. And that's what he's doing, very expertly, I might say.
Right.
He's showing every single person in his entire life how annoying and ineffective he truly is.
Right.
And how they've been blindly following someone who doesn't really know what they're doing anyway. And it really shows also how the male-dominated world needs to start going away, because the women have way more sense than the men in this show on the whole, with the exception of Mary.
Some people might have had a criticism about Dowager Countess getting Dr. Clarkson to say what he researched about Sybil and eclampsia. And at first I was like, it's kind of weird, because it's almost like they're excusing Lord Grantham for his behavior. But, and I almost hate to say it, I have to do more research on this, but from what I did look up, and you probably read it in my article, that what Dr. Clarkson said is kind of right. That at least in that time period, even though it was championed more to do the C-section, it still wasn't necessarily going to turn out well anyway. So the technology just wasn't there, I don't think. So either way, she might have died. So Dr. Clarkson is right, and I guess that means Julian Fellows did his research on that one.
Fine.
So I can't be mad at that. And I understand why the Dowager Countess did what she did, because at the end of the day, Lord Grantham is still her son. So she was trying to...
Which you really wonder how that even happened, to be honest. Genetics should have done a better job, because she's awesome.
But she was trying to ease his pain, and she wanted Lord Grantham and Lady Cora to act as a family unit in this time of crisis. So I get it, but I don't think... Perhaps it could have been written in a different way so that it wouldn't just seem like, oh, we're just going to excuse Lord Grantham for all his idiocy. And hopefully if what happens in the next episode is what I think it's going to be, we'll have some kind of retribution a little bit about how Lord Grantham was treated in this episode at the end of this episode. But as far as this episode goes, I get it, and I can understand the dissatisfaction. But hopefully in the next episode, we'll see the showdown that's been brewing between Matthew and Lord Grantham, and hopefully it'll go over just like how I hope it will. But there you go. I think in the upcoming episode, there's gonna be the whole thing about Thomas. If you haven't read ahead, I mean, you can probably figure out what's gonna happen now, since O'Brien has launched the worst scheme ever to get back at Thomas.
Oh no, that's gonna be I cringe or something. I made some sort of noise whenever this happened, but O'Brien knows that Jimmy is tired of Sebastian. Wow.
Thomas.
I keep calling this guy Sebastian without fail.
Thomas.
Thomas. She knows that Jimmy's tired of Thomas touching him all the time. Which, even if I like someone, I don't want people touching me.
Yeah.
Excessively. Like, just don't touch me, please.
That's not.
You can't get all up in here and play it off like it's normal. No, that's not how you hit on someone.
No.
People of the world, that's not how you hit on someone. You don't rub your hand all up around their neck area. Weirdly. Well, at least for me. Maybe I'm just very anti-human contact.
But, I mean, that's one area Julian Fellows could have reined it back on. Like,
well, I guess they're trying to show how, like, desperate Thomas is.
But even with desperation, I mean, I know, I get it, but, like, still, like, he's trying to stay employed. Like, doesn't he want to stay employed, too? I mean, we're not in the 21st century. We're not in 2013. We're in the 1920s.
Yeah, and he will get fired for sexual harassment.
Yeah, like, he should know what the score is. And like I wrote before on my website, on Moniqueblog.net, that with Thomas being in this time period, you know, being as old as he is, by now, he should know at least one place where homosexuals are welcome in wherever Downton Abbey is, whatever part of Britain it's in.
Sorry. Ooh, sorry.
Like, he should know at least where to go, other people in service that are
met some people by now.
that are gay or lesbian.
Yeah. And honestly, I always have wondered about O'Brien. Not just because she's single, but just I don't know. She seems to identify with Thomas a lot. Maybe because she's an outcast.
Maybe, but I mean, she also seems way too protective of Cora. At least in season 2, she did.
Yeah, but yeah, she keeps egging on Thomas, and that's just cold. This cold-hearted.
I mean, I get
truly cold-hearted.
I know.
And I'm not sure where. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm not sure where she's coming from with that.
Well, where she's coming from with that is because, and that's what I was about to say. She's trying to get back at Thomas for messing with her nephew, trying to get him out.
Oh, but and I forget Alfred's her nephew. I really forget that a lot, which makes him more likable, actually. But that and are we going to talk about this whole dumb saga with the scullery people?
No, we're not.
Just a quick word about that. I'm sick of it. Daisy needs to go on ahead and go to the farm so we can stop talking about her all the time. And Ivy needs to just shut it down because nobody likes her except Alfred.
It's almost as bad as the Bates thing. Like, I don't get how Ethel, who we haven't seen in forever, can come back and have a better storyline than someone we've seen for every episode.
Oh, that fool's getting out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a spoiler at all.
Because we talked about it. They talked about it in the episode.
Yeah, I am so like, okay, it was enough to have to follow this guy around in freaking jail. Do we have to waste time trying to get him out of jail?
Mm-hmm.
And now he's back and he's gonna take somebody's job? No.
Yeah, he's taking Thomas's job.
That's not how inmate works. Once you're an ex-con, you are an ex-con. You don't get rehired.
Why is Lord Grantham? I know they served together in the war.
We served in the war.
But how is?
I'll die here. If you haven't watched Downton Sixby by Jimmy Fallon, you're missing out. It is hilarious. Hilarious.
But how is Lord Grantham gonna have all these heirs and welcome back an ex-con?
Right, with open arms. He's like, you can't be with a prostitute, but an ex-murderer, or a semi-convicted murderer.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Bring him in.
And it's not like Bates helped himself in jail. Like, he was acting like a criminal.
Oh my gosh. And we've already talked about that because it makes me upset.
Like, you can't have, as they say, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, I hate that
You
phrase,
can't bake your cake, have your cake. You can't bake your cake, frost your cake, add ice cream, and eat it at the same time. No. That's all this man did. He had trial, got convicted of murder, didn't hang for it, got an appeal out of nowhere. Because Lord Grantham pulls strings. What are these strings he's always pulling?
I know. Convenient script
Who
strings.
does he know? He's like, I'll make some calls. Who are you calling, God? Like, what the heck?
But, like, even before that, with Bates threatening the dude, like, I know he's a bad guy, but you still can't do anything to him, or people are going to think you're a criminal.
Which he is.
Just the fact that all this retroactive is in the pastry. Like, how come the pastry wasn't doggone found before?
Wouldn't that have been in the freaking house? Did the lady move it? Like, just because she ate the pastry, there's still evidence of pastry.
Yeah, like,
who didn't think of that? What kind of rigged investigation was this?
I know.
Was it just another part of Bates' luck, where it's like somebody hated him on the case and didn't talk about the pastry, but somehow the pastry comes through weeks, months afterward when it doesn't even matter anymore? And I know police work was not, great back then, but Murdoch Mysteries happened before this time period, and they were doing awesome things. Now, granted, I'm aware that these are all fictional universes, but it's based on truth. You can't just pull that out of the air, okay? If Murdoch and them were doing it in Canada lots of years before, surely Britain has come on board with a little bit of police work advancement by the 20s.
I mean, if you've got Downton Abbey retrofitted with electricity, you should be able to find out who killed the lady. Woman. That wraps it up for this episode of the DowntonCast. Our next hot culture episode might be a little late. Well, I guess it will be a little late. It'll be on Monday. It'll go up on Monday because we're going to be watching the Grammys and we're going to talk about the Grammys.
Well, we'll only be watching the Grammys until Downton Abbey comes on. Of course, we can watch it on the other channel at 10.
Right. So we'll be watching the Grammys and we'll be recapping it on Hot Culture, and that'll go up on Monday. I'm not sure what to expect there.
It's going to be a mess.
You'll also be able to read more about Downton Abbey and anything else on Moniqueblog.net. I'm supposed to be having some interviews and stuff up soon, so that's going to be exciting. You can check out our Zazzle store where you can buy our products. You can check out Moniqueblog.net on Twitter, Moniqueblog on Facebook, and I think that's all my handles. So, of course, keep it here to the Moniqueblog YouTube
Keep it locked. But don't, because you'll be sitting here for like days with nothing going on.
So, I'm Monique, and this is Ashley, and we'll see you next time.